Good morning, everyone. How you doing? You doing all right? Good. Or are you? It's hard not to focus on the bad things that are happening because if we don't focus on the bad things that are going to happen, that are happening, then we are not prepared for this new country that we live in. You know, I never, ever in my wildest thoughts about our country thought that it would be run by such incompetent and criminals and just unrealistic people willing to take away the things that our citizens of America need. To watch people being treated less than animals by vigilante bounty hunters. And that's what they are. Military in the city streets. A president, criminal king, that's making decisions that hurt our alliances, hurt other democracies, all for self gain. And the people that follow this criminal and his criminal regime and the unrealistic decisions and fanciful ideologies that they want to force on everyone is unbelievable. This is bizarro world. And I know I bring up Project 2025 all the time, but the problem is that we've had the playbook the whole time. And when Trump says, "Oh well, I don't know anything about it," people disregarded it. They didn't read it. They didn't question it. And now it's being implemented. You know, I've talked about Cuba and the people of Cuba becoming resilient by their own means and ways. Well, you're going to have to do that as well as an American citizen who is now no longer in the graces or in charge of or leading our world. But today I'm going to talk about Bobby Kennedy. I am not going to give that man any kind of title. I'm not going to call him by anything other than Bobby because Bobby is a dumbass. He's got a brain worm. He can't speak. He believes in conspiracies. He swims in toxic water with his grandchildren. He puts a dead bear cub, in his car and then puts it in Central Park as a as an accident with a bear cub that he had in his car that he taken home a whale head on the roof of his car. And in his confirmation hearing, he said, "I am not someone that people should listen to for medical advice. When he said that, I was watching live. When he said that, I was like, what? You are going to be the head of our health science. And you just stated in the confirmation hearing that you are not the one to give medical advice. Okay, I agree. Because if someone's stupid enough to eat wild game that has tapeworms without properly cooking it, yeah, you're someone I really don't want in charge of my health decisions or the decisions made for our country to make it healthy again. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Vaccines alone, historically speaking, save people, humans. They also save animals. Just throwing that one in there, too. You know, President Trump was very, very proud of warp speed when it came to the COVID vaccine. He's proud of it. He's still proud of it. He still brings it up. If you follow him and listen to everything he says, his lies included, then you should be okay with the COVID vaccine. I mean, where's the connection at? There's none. There's no connection from what he said about being proud of warp speed and getting vaccines out of there. And I'm going to tell you, he was vaccinated. Just saying. Just saying. But he doesn't push the COVID vaccine, even though he's very proud of the warp speed when it came out. That's mind boggling in itself. Okay, but Bobby not only is taking away vaccines, he's taking away research. It's very important. You know, avian flu can become a very serious situation, and it's something that I watch very closely when I can. Research. He's taking away research. And you know, he said that he's not the man, he's not the person that people should listen to for medical advice in his confirmation hearing in the position that he's in now. But he's also firing the people that you should be taking advice for medical information. He's firing those people. The people that you should be listening to. Doctors, scientists, food inspectors, the inspection of food. I don't care about that, does he? He's more worried about red food dye than salmonella outbreaks or, you know, E. coli or yeah, I don't get it. That doesn't make sense. But to MAGA it makes sense. Okay. I'm going to give you some advice when it comes to being prepared as things break down and departments. Let's just do this one. Consumer, what is it? Product Consumer Bureau of Consumer, whatever, whatever, whatever. They've dismantled it. Product safety. You're going to have to be on your toes if you want to stay healthy with MAHA in charge because they're going to kill us. Thousands, maybe millions of people will die. How many died during COVID from being stupid? I mean, I'm just asking. I mean, I know several that I worked with that were stupid and died, or several that were stupid and ended up being hung upside down in a hospital room, hung upside down so they could breathe. They weren't stupid after that because they were like, whoa, this shit almost killed me. Maybe I need a vaccination. We lost quite a few people where I worked. And it's coming back around. Infectious diseases should be researched. They should be vaccinated against. And it keeps people healthy, like make America healthy again. Seems to me like we would be doing more research. We would be doing, we would be doing more food inspection. We would be providing more vaccines, or at least giving people the option to get them. I'm 55. I don't meet the criteria for what he's setting forth. And I'm very, very upset about it. That really makes me angry. I should be able to get a vaccine that I want, even if I have to pay for it out of pocket. I should be able to get a vaccine. I shouldn't have someone with a brain worm who is anti-science, anti-vaccine, anti-common sense food inspection, who has been strung out on heroin before. And that warps your DNA, right? It warps your thinking. I don't want a conspiracy theorist taking away the science that can help me and other people be healthy. If they're worried about our younger generation, you need to keep them healthy. Okay, maybe you're trying to kill off, the older generation so you don't have to pay the Social Security and the Medicaid and the Medicare and keep them in nursing homes. Maybe you're trying to kill them off. I mean, it doesn't, it would not shock me if that was the whole intention. Now, I don't think I saw that in Project 2025, but maybe if I did maybe if I did another dive into it, I could find out if they're trying to cull the herd. I know they want to make women broodmares. They don't want to have men responsible for their own actions. They want to blame it on a woman for how she's dressed or where she's at or what she's doing, which is absolutely barbaric. That they don't expect men to be able to control their urges. Whatever. But when Bobby Kennedy said, I'm not the person people should listen to for medical advice, I heard him say that live. And what position are you going for? What a contradiction. And then fire the people that you should take advice from. Doctors, scientists, people that have worked in disease prevention for years. Uh, we're coming into that season, and I do recommend everybody to get as many vaccinations as you can for all of your upper respiratories, pneumonias, RSV. I started to say RSVP. Is that right? No. But COVID, pneumonia, influenza. Go ahead and get a tetanus shot too while you're at it. Shingles. Maybe get a booster for your mumps and rubella, smallpox. Cook your food thoroughly. Thoroughly. If you buy eggs, don't eat them sunny side up. I'm going to give you that advice. If you drink raw milk, that's on you. I would drink my raw milk if I had something, but as far as buying raw milk from a large farm, there's no way. If you knew what was in raw, mm-mm, pasteurize that stuff before you bring it to my house. It's going to get very dangerous. I would recommend you wearing face masks, using hand sanitizer, use universal precautions when you are in social settings. And as we get more inside, you know, right now we're all outside enjoying this cooler weather since we were under some sort of heat dome. But as we get into the holidays, as we get into winter, fall and winter, be inside more, use universal precautionary measures not to become infected by any of these diseases. Now I want to say something that I am probably going to regret, because I don't down Christianity. I don't down people who are Christians. I down the hypocritical MAGA Christians who are okay with treating people less than animals, that are okay with not following the words of Jesus about the immigrants and your neighbors and all of that, that are cruel and okay with cruelty, and that will lie with propaganda. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. He's a she, she's a he. But what I want to talk about is how MAGA is only focused on the fact that the shooter was trans and had mental issues, not the fact that guns were easily gotten by this person. It was a horrendous act. And I'm seeing this thing about thoughts and prayers. You know, here's my deal on that. If you're not going to do action to stop a situation and all you ever send out are thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, our thoughts and prayers go out, but there's no action to focus on the gun situation rather than thoughts and prayers. These children were praying at the time this was going on. Was God not listening? When you sent thoughts and prayers for the last 20 school shootings, did it stop each and every one of them down the line? No. The prayers didn't stop a maniac from shooting people. You know, you hear this, well, illegals do this amount of crime, and trans, which are only 2 in a school shooting that I know of, but then you'll have, white men go and shoot a gay nightclub down, or go into a black church and gun people down. That's not about woke. That's not about trans. It's still about mental. But here's the problem with that. When we address situations, when there's gun violence, which is the leading cause of our children dying in this country, okay? Well, until they no longer can survive diseases, which that will probably spike up. But anyway, the gun issue needs to be addressed through legislation, period. And mental health needs to be a part of legislation, but the Republicans always vote those two issues in legislation down, but they send thoughts and prayers. It's very similar to when people say, oh, well, Trump was saved by God when he was nicked in the ear by a piece of glass or whatever it was, or I don't know. But what about the guy behind him? So God sacrificed the guy behind him and saved Donald Trump, who is the most disgusting, despicable, evil human being on earth, who says that he doesn't have to ask God for forgiveness because he never does anything wrong, which is a lie, because we know that's a lie. He's a criminal. So, to all of these people who are going to die for not having vaccinations, I'm sending you my thoughts and prayers. Is it going to help? No, it's not. Anyway, I've got to get my day started. I've got Tashir running out back. Um, I've got to finish up some chores. I need to bake another chicken. I baked a chicken yesterday. I need to bake another one today. And that way I've got enough dog food. I'm going to use this one to make the broth, to make all of the pasta and everything, to put the beans, and I'm going to put a bunch of fresh green beans in there, some cucumber, and make a really good dog food. So it's kind of like my goal today. Start some laundry, stuff like that. You all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. I might do a 5 off of 25 at Dollar General today. I'm not sure. I don't have to go to JC since it was a 4-day instead of a 2-day sale. I got my coleslaw blend. I'm good. Um, my thoughts and prayers go out to you. You all have a great day. Hugs from a distance. Bye.